Hi, I'm Karan. In the next few hours, I'm going to teach you how to write a novel that is guaranteed to sell to a top publishing house. But also something more. We'll learn how to write a story that endures. I can't guarantee it'll become a classic that lasts 100 years, but I'm confident your readers will remember your book for years to come. But first things first, who am I to make these tall claims? To be even more specific, as you should be as a writer, who is this non native English speaking Indian who's teaching Americans how to write books? As you can probably tell looking at me, I'm not an MFA or a creative type with a long beard and a sensitive soul. I don't have an English literature degree from Amherst or the Bard College. I didn't study liberal arts at the New School. In fact, I'm the exact opposite in every way. I'm an engineer and a business school graduate from a small town in India. Numbers come more easily to me than words. That's why I wrote my first novel a couple of hours after work for 6 months without much expectation. Quite surprisingly for me, HarperCollins India picked up the novel and it became a number one bestseller in India, going on to sell more than 100,000 copies. I wrote my second novel more deliberately, and that too did quite well in India and got a Hollywood movie deal. But some part of me felt that I was just a big fish in a small pond, or more accurately, a medium sized fish in the small puddle of English speaking Indians. So for my third novel, I was determined to get an international publishing deal. And since subconsciously I always thought my success in India was a fluke, I decided to learn from the best. I had made some money from my book and movie deals, so I spent a lot on writing courses in New York. Gotham, Masterclass, Jill Dearman, you name it, I've done them all. I'm also a bit of an engineer nerd, as you can probably tell, so I read every top rated book on Amazon on writing, 50 or 60 of them. And then finally wrote my third novel after 2 years of intensive study, incorporating all the expert best practices. What happened? Drum roll, please. The book bombed. It was rejected by 61 literary agents in the US. Not one, not two, not 10, not 20, but 61. And if this wasn't enough, even HarperCollins India, who knew after the success of my first two novels that no matter what I wrote, the book would sell 50,000 copies in India, rejected the book. Yes, it was that bad. So you can imagine why I think all the writing advice out there is at best useless and at worst pretty harmful. I wasted 3 years figuring that out, 2 years of study and 1 year of writing, and I don't want you to make the same mistake. Hence, I created this course. In retrospect, it all makes sense. Just look at the popular writing books today. They're written by authors who've never got a top 5 publishing deal, or by 70-year-old authors who don't know what it means to be a debut novelist in the internet world anymore, where the proliferation of entertainment options has made it very, very difficult for a new author to get a book deal. So what did I do next after 61 rejections? Being an engineer, I was still determined to crack a system that worked. So this time I studied what had worked for me in the past, as well as read once again actual iconic best-selling novels like The Catcher in the Rye, To Kill a Mockingbird, The Da Vinci Code, etc., and created my own method. I rewrote my book. Exactly 16 days after finishing the revised version of my novel, I had 3 top agents bidding to represent me. I chose Molly Glick from Foundry Media, one of the leading agents in the US right now. Just 1 week after she submitted the manuscript to publishing houses, we had 3 major publishers interested in the book, and eventually signed a worldwide book deal with Riverhead Books, an imprint within Penguin Random House. Today, I'm going to share that system with you. And once you've gone through it, I think you'll appreciate the simplicity and the logic of it. The course is structured into 4 modules and has very few writing exercises. Only what you need to conceptualize a book that sells, because the rest, honestly, is just a matter of writing it. For example, what's the point in learning how to describe a sunset in the Hudson Valley, which is what typically you get to do in a writing course, when your book is set in Guatemala? I'll never ask you to waste your time. So here are the modules and what they'll cover broadly. In the first module, I'll help you find an iconic idea from deep within you that only you can bring to life. I honestly believe there's a Catcher in the Rye or the Hunger Games in each of us. I'll help you find yours. In the second module, we'll concentrate on bringing the idea to life with some very simple structures and principles. No slow fake method, no complicated diagrams. Simple is key for a great novel. Then we'll get into the third module where I'll share some real tips on the discipline and psychology of writing success. Again, no generic stuff like don't be faced by rejection, follow your dreams, etc. There is a point in which rejection should bother you. There is a point in which you should know when to cut your losses with your dream. And I'll tell you exactly when, among other tips. Finally, my favorite module. Now you've written a great book. How do you cause a frenzy among literary agents to represent you and top 5 publishers to bid for it? Yes, it's going to happen. It's all going to become very clear soon. So now, before we dive into the first module, I want to talk just a little bit about what makes some stories endure, because that will form the construct for this whole course. Because as I said, I don't want you to write just a bestseller. I want you to write a bestseller that stands the test of time. So what is it that makes To Kill a Mockingbird, The Catcher in the Rye, or even A Godfather and the Da Vinci Code endure? There is only one principle. And to understand that principle, let's put it in context of what it means to be a human. In some form or the other, every great spiritual tradition, be it Buddhism or yoga or Sufism or the mystical branches of Christianity, will tell you that the human condition is incomplete. And even if you aren't spiritual or religious, you've all experienced that. Even in moments of our greatest achievement or joy, there is something indefinable that's still missing from our grasp. The Bhagavad Gita, a classic Indian philosophical text, says that man's soul cries for the infinite in a finite world. That's why this constant gnawing incompleteness. If you reflect on this, you'll understand why stories are so powerful. A good story makes you forget your incomplete, restless life for a moment and enter a complete world. The new fictional world is still turbulent, still chaotic, still full of action and reaction, still tough like reality, but it is complete within its boundaries. Some people call it escape, but I think that's too narrow a word. Your job as a writer is more powerful. What you're doing with your words is helping dissolve the reader's ego completely, their sense of self, and make them touch divinity as they forget themselves for that one instant that they're experiencing this completely new world. I want you to keep that thought in mind because it will lay the foundation for this course. Because you have to remember, what you're truly learning with this course is to create a fictive dream, a new world. And this world is completely liberated from its creator. You, the author, is not moving the story. The characters are propelling their own destinies forward. You are just a medium for the story to tell itself. You as an author don't dream up coincidences if your characters can't solve a story problem. The characters find it deep within themselves to solve the problem. The details and descriptions are not underwritten or overwritten. They are just right. Because all you're doing is visualizing and feeling this new world and just capturing it on paper. So it's just the right level of detail needed to bring this new world into existence. It's as simple as that. And that's all what we're going to do today. We are going to learn the method in which you become just an observer, a note taker for the events in your story. The story will write itself. So in summary from the introduction, take away just 2 points. 1, you have it in you to write a book that endures. And 2, the underlying foundation for writing that book is to create a fictive dream, a world that propels itself, totally liberated from its creator. Now let's get started creating that world.
चैनल को डेफिनेटली सब्सक्राइब कीजिए। हर हफ्ते स्टार्टअप्स, मेडिटेशन, राइटिंग या लाइफ में नए नए चैलेंजेस कैसे लें, इस पे 2 या मैक्सिमम मैं 3 वीडियो बनाता हूँ। सब्सक्राइब कीजिए ताकि आपको सबसे पहले एक्सेस मिले।